In today's video, we're going to build a game using only HTML and CSS. This is going to be part of a challenge from DevEd. If you don't know who DevEd is, look him up right now. Pause this video, I'll wait, go subscribe. Now let's get on to the challenge. So DevEd has a challenge here. He says that we need to build a game in 1 hour using whatever we want. We need to film it. We can speed it up. Screen recording is enough. Send him a DM on Twitter. And then he's going to pick a winner and give them a prize. We are going to use CodePen today. I'm going to try to go as fast as I can and get as much done within an hour as I can, so I may not explain things as much as I normally do. But like I said, we're going to build a game using only HTML and CSS. And it's going to be a no JavaScript platform game. Really quick before we get into it, I want to thank this video's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Atlantic.net. Atlantic.net provides great VPS hosting, and they are offering a free 1 gig virtual server with SSDs and block storage for free for a year, plus $25 in free credits to use for other services they offer if you use the link in the description below. It's super easy to use. After I signed up, I was able to provision a new server in less than 30 seconds. Their servers are hosted across 7 different locations in 3 countries, with 2 additional locations coming soon. And unlike other big names in this industry, they have great, always available technical support. They also have incredible reliability and redundancy on their servers. So try Atlantic.net to develop, test, or launch your next project. Click the link in the description below and use the code STACKER to get your $25 in credit. All right, I'm gonna set up a timer here and then we'll get started. All right, 1 hour. Let's start with the HTML. So we'll have a boilerplate here, and then we'll name this no JavaScript platform game. And I'm going to copy that. We're going to put that in H1, the class of title. Then we're going to have a div called center. And that's where everything is going to be. It's going to be centered on the page. Within that, we'll have a input with the class of level 1. No, actually an ID. Input with an ID of level 1. And that's going to be a checkbox. And then after the input, we'll have a div with the class of level, and and that's going to have data attribute of L. It's going to equal 1. Keep track of our levels here. Okay, then we'll have a div with the class of step, and these steps are going to have data attributes of R, which stands for row, and C for column. So 0, 0. So these are going to be set up in a grid. We're not going to be using CSS grid, but it's going to be set up in a 5x5 grid if you want to visualize it. All right, so let's stop here and start on some CSS. All right, I'm going to copy and paste a font from Google Fonts. And we are using SCSS. So we're going to set up some variables here. Hue is going to be 50. Our hue shift, variable shift is going to be 30. So we're going to be using HSL. So the color is going to be HSL hue, and then 30% and 60%. And then we're going to set up some colors, some variations. Light is going to be lighten, and then adjust hue. And we'll pass it the color and the shift, and then set that to 20%. All right, we're going to copy this a couple of times. And instead of light, this one's going to be lighter. And the same thing, except we're going to shift it times 2 and set the percent to 40. And then we'll have a dark. And of course, that's going to be darker or darken. And then adjusting those is going to be a negative shift and 10%. And then this will be darker and darken. And then a negative shift as well, times 2. And then 40%, or 20%, sorry. And then the last one is going to be a pop. And on this one, we'll just do HSL, pass it the hue, minus 180. So that's going to invert it. And then 80% and 60%. All right. We'll set up some more variables here. Base, this is going to be our font size. And then short, so some time frames. We're going to have some transitions. Short is going to be 200 milliseconds. Mid will be 600 milliseconds. And then long, we'll set that to 2 seconds, so 2000 milliseconds. We'll set some easing. So ease in will be a cubic Bezier. Set that to 0.755, 0.05, 0.855, and 0.06. And then let's just copy that. This will be an ease out. And we'll do 0.23, 1, 0.32, and 1. All right, and then we're going to set a grid size variable to 10 rem. So our grid will be 10 rem height and width. That's what we're going to use it for. And then we'll set rows will be 5. We're going to have 5 rows, and we'll have 5 columns. Okay, we're also going to create a mix-in. Name it absolute. And we'll set the position to absolute. Top of 0, left of 0. Width will be 100%. And height will be 100%. All right. Then let's target the HTML. And we'll set the font size to the base. All right, and then go to body. We'll set the height to 100 view height, width to 100 view width. Overflow is going to be hidden. And then our font color will be white. Our background color will be darker. And then our font size, we'll set that to 2 rem. And our font family, that's going to be our quicksand that we imported. And then a fallback of sans serif. Okay. Let's set up the center. All right, center. We'll position this, position, absolute, top 50%, left 50%. Width will be the grid size times columns. And the height will be the grid size. Oops. Times rows. All right, and then we'll set a transform. And we'll set a translate of -50% and -50%. Okay, what is wrong here? Hue. Oops. Should be a space there. There we go. All right, let's see what's next. Let's work on the level. All right, each level, we're going to set the opacity initially to 0. Transform will be translate. And we'll do grid size. Oops. Times 2 for the X, and then a negative grid size times 2 for the Y. Okay, and then pointer events, none, translate, or no, transition, we'll set transform to mid and ease out. And then the opacity will also set to mid and ease out. All right, and then since we're using SAS, we can use ampersand, and we're going to target the data attribute of L equals 1. So this is our first level. We want the opacity on this to be 1, and the pointer events to be auto, and then transform, translate, 0, 0. Okay, and then, and on hover, I'll go ahead and put this in here. This is going to be, once we get to our finish, we're going to transform scale 1, opacity 1, pointer events auto, oops, and transition, transform, short, ease out, and opacity is going to be short linear. Okay. Let's see. We're also going to target the level 1 ID and set the position to absolute and the Z index of a lot. Okay, just make sure that it's on top. And then let's work on our steps. So we're going to set the width to grid size times 1.01, and the height is going to be the same. And then background, it's going to be light. And then position will be absolute. Top is going to be 0, left 0. Oops. Opacity 0 initially, and transform, translate negative grid size divided by 2. And that's for the X, and then for the Y will be a positive grid size divided by 2. Pointer events. It's going to be none. And then transition, transform, mid, ease in, and opacity, mid, linear. All right. All right, let's go down to start. Oops, this was still within our step. Ampersand start. And on hover, and on hover plus step. All right, let's just start with that. Why is this formatting weird? I don't know. Okay, we're going to transform scale 1, and then opacity 1, and pointer events, auto, and then transition, transform, short, ease out, and opacity will be short linear. Okay, let's go back to our HTML. So we've got that, we've got our input, our level, and then okay, let's add a div here of level title. And that's going to be level 1. And then this first step, let's just go ahead and copy it. And it's going to be step, and then this one will be start. That's where we're going to start from. 0, 0. The next one, let's just say 0, 1. And then let's have let's just start with this. Okay, so here's our start. And you can see when we hover over it, it kind of does something weird. Okay, so let's go back to our CSS. And now we're going to do some SAS magic here with some loops. So we're going to say for, and we'll declare a variable r for rows from 1 through 4. And we'll say ampersand. We'll target the row and we'll pass in the variable. All right, and then on those, we want to set the top to the variable times 10 rem. What is up with the formatting? Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing, copy and paste this, but this is going to be for the columns, 1 through 4. And so it's going to be at the column, 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 and then left. Okay. And then we'll have one more set of loops here. So it's going to be for row from 0 through 4. And then another loop for column from 0 through 4. And we're going to set the data column equals, and we're going to pass in the variable for column. And the row that equals, pass in the variable, oops, for row. And then on these, we're going to set the z index, and that's going to be the r variable plus 1 times columns, how many columns we have, minus the c variable. All right, so that's going to set our z index. And now you can see when we hover over 0, 0, so let's go back to the HTML. So this initial one, the start one, is on row 0, column 0, and the next one is on row 0, column 1. So when I hover over it, it pops up. So this is going to create a path for us. Every time we hover over the next one's going to pop up. All right, so if I just copy this down a couple more times, and I can say column 2, 3, 4. All right, so when I hover over that, they'll just keep popping up, and it's going to make a path for us. And they fall away behind us so that we can't go back. All right. So what I'm actually going to do, let's go back to the CSS. And let's see, let's go to center. All right, we're going to add onto this, we're going to add a perspective of 100 rem and a rotate z of negative 45 degrees. All right. So now it's going to go off that way. We've rotated it. And we're going to make this look 3D. All right, so let's go back into our steps. And we're going to use some pseudo elements here. So we're going to say ampersand before and after. And we'll set the content on these to blank. And we're going to include our absolute mix-in here. And we'll set the pointer events to none and make that important. Okay, and then on, I don't know why the formatting is so off. Before, just on the before, we're going to set left is going to be a negative 20%. The background, we'll set that to dark. And then transform origin, we're going to set that to 100% and 100%. And then transform, we're going to skew Y, negative 45 degrees. And set the width to 20%. All right, so we're in the process of making a box there, a 3D looking box. All right, so let's go into our after. All right, just for the after, we want to set the top to 100%. Background is going to be dark, or it's going to be color. And then transform origin, we're going to set that to 0, 0. And transform, we're going to skew X, negative 45 degrees, and set the height to 20%. All right, there we go. Nice. Starting to look like a box there. All right, and then we're going to look at our start and the finish. On both of these, we're going to change the before and after a bit. So the before, we're going to say left is going to be negative 50%. And the width is going to be 50%. And then on the after, we're going to set the height to 50%. All right, there we go. So you can see that the start one is a little bit bigger, and then the steps are a little bit smaller. All right, we need to get rid of this little checkbox here. All right, we'll just go here and we'll do input, whoops, input, opacity of 0, and pointer events to none. All right, that got rid of that. All right, let's go back to the HTML and finish this up a little bit. Oops, HTML's here. All right, so let's do a few more of these. So we're going to start 0, 0, 0, 1, and then I'll do 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, oops, 1, and then we'll do 4, 2, and 4, 3, and then we'll need one more. That's going to be 4, 4, and that will be our finish. So we'll add finish class on here. Within this, we're going to have a button that we can press. So, but we're going to use a label with the class of goal. And this is going to be for level 1. All right, and so pressing the label is actually going to press this input that we can't see. All right, so let's go back and do some more CSS. All right. go right here. We're going to have, if we have time, we're going to have some buttons, some other buttons, and we have our goal right now. So let's target that. And we're going to say position absolute. And top is going to be 5%. Left is going to be 20%. Width is going to be 75%. And height is 75%. Border radius, we're going to make that the grid size. Background is going to be our pop. And then text align, center, line height. We're going to set that to the grid size times 0.8. And then we'll set a box shadow of negative grid size times 0.05. And then I'll just copy this. Whoops. Times there. Okay, copy this. That's funny. Times. Okay, this is going to be a positive. Grid size, copy this again. And then the color will be color. Okay, and then we're going to set a transition on the box shadow to short ease out. And then on the transform of short and ease out. All right, now on hover, we want to transform, translate, grid size times 0.5, 0.05, and then the same thing but negative for the Y. Okay, negative. And then we'll set our box size, or our box shadow, excuse me. I'm just going to copy this box shadow. All right, and this is going to be times 0.2, 0.2, and 0.3. All right, and then we'll have an active, which is going to be very similar. So let's just copy this. And we'll say active. And the translate is going to be the same, except we're going to do a negative on these. And the box shadow is going to be 0, 0, 0. It's basically going to go away. All right. Let's see where we're at so far. All right, so there's the goal, there's the button. We can press it. All right, that's looking good so far. All right, let's work on the level title. There's level, okay, level title. Let's put it here. level title. And we'll say position absolute, top -20 rem, left -20 rem. And we'll say font family. It's going to be the other font that we imported, Russo 1, fallback of sans serif, and then font size we'll set to 10 rem. All right, there it is, level 1. All right, let's keep going. All right, we're going to have some more input stuff to deal with. So let's say input checked. So once we check the final goal, we want it to go on to the next level. So we're going to say we don't have any in the HTML yet, but there's going to be multiple levels. So level, the next input, and the next level after that. All right, we want to set the opacity to 1. And then the pointer events to auto, and the transform we'll set to translate 0, 0. All right, and then input checked plus the first or the next level. We'll set the opacity. So it's basically selecting the same level that we're on right now, the level right after the checkbox. So it's the level that we're on. We want to set the opacity to 0, and important, make sure that it goes to 0. Set pointer events to none, important, and transform, translate, negative grid size times 2, and just a regular grid size times 2, and important. Okay. All right, we're also gonna possibly have a button if we have time. And we're going to set the background on that to light. Okay. Let's go ahead and say input checked plus button pointer events set to none, and transform, translate, and that's going to be grid size times 0 or a negative 0.05, and then the Y is going to be the same except negative grid size. Okay, and then box shadow. So it's the same thing that we did on the goal. We're just doing it on these buttons that they're going to toggle bridges if we can get to that. All right, so the color. All right, and then the steps. I think we got most of that done. All right, so let me add to this. So there's going to be some more to this if we can get to it. It's going to be a bunch more hovers. Let me just copy that. Okay, hover plus path, and then step, first child, and then hover plus bridge, input dot checked plus step, and then hover plus bridge input not checked plus step plus step. All right, I know that's a lot, but we'll get to that if we have time, hopefully. All right, so then we'll go down past this. We possibly have some bridges. So we'll say bridge, pointer events, none. Okay, let's go back to the HTML and let's try to add a second level in here so that we can get something going. Okay, so after this level, okay, so let's just separate. This is the level, goes to here. Okay, so let's just copy and paste this and create another level. Okay, so this is going to be input checkbox level 2. And level is going to, actually this one is not going to need this data attribute. And we'll say level 2 here. And then step start. This one we're going to start on the opposite side where we ended up. So we ended up on 4.4 on level 1. We're going to start on 4.4 on level 2. So we're going to go 4.4 and then 4.3. 3, 4.2, 3.2, 3.1, 3.0, 4.3, 4.2, 3.2, 4.0, and then 4.1, and then gonna add some more in here. Okay, so 4.1 is where we left off. 3.1, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 4.3, 4.2, 3.2, 3.1, 4.1, 4.0, okay, copy that. Oops, 4.0, and then 3.0, 2.0, 1.0. 3, 2, 1. And then the last one is going to end on 1.1. Step finish goal for level 2. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Okay. It's getting there. We're not quite there, but we're almost. How much time do we have left? 16 minutes. Okay. Let's go back to the CSS. All right, HTML body, center, level. Level title, input. Just making sure I didn't miss something here. Okay, button, input checked. Level 1 step. Okay, so let's, what I want to do, well, let's work on the title here. Okay, let's go back up to the top. Body center. Okay, we'll go here. And let's add some stuff for the title. So we'll say position, relative, margin top, before rem, margin left, oops, 2 rem, padding left, oops, 1 rem, font size, set that to 5 rem, background is going to be black, and then z index, we're going to set that to a -2. All right, within here, actually, let's go back to the HTML. I want to set some spans on here. We're going to do some fun stuff. So span, wrap this in a span. And then the platform game, wrap that in a span. Okay, go back to the CSS. Now within our title, we're going to say span first of type. So the first span, we're going to say display as in line block. And then position, relative. Color is going to be darker. Font family. We'll set that to the Russo 1. And then fallback of sans serif, and then font size. We'll set to 8 rem. Okay, why did that not update? Oh, I did it up here. Wow. Okay. And that's not where I meant to edit that. Should have been in here. Like that. And that needs to be an end of the span. There we go. Okay, messing up so much. All right, so then we've got that. Let's target the ampersand before. We're going to add some more styling here. We'll say content blank, display, block, position, absolute, bottom is going to be 1.8 rem, height will be 1 rem, and width 11 rem, background RGBA, white 0.9, and z index of -1. All right, adds a little underline there. And then we're going to do, after that, span last of type, and then we'll display as inline block and position relative, and then another and before, content blank, position absolute, bottom is going to be 0.5 rem, and height will be 5 rem, width 36 rem, and then the background, we'll set that to darker, and a z index of -1. All right, that's it for that. Let's go back to the HTML. So whenever you complete it, all the way finished, I want it to have a message. So we'll go after this goal here. We'll say input with an ID of finish, and oops, and that's going to be a checkbox. And then we'll have a class of level. Within that, we're going to have a class of message. And we're going to say h1, you win. And then we'll have a paragraph. And that's going to say, thanks for playing break impressive patience. All right. After that, we're going to have an anchor with the class of share. And oops. And then the href, I am going to copy and paste that in a second here. We're also going to target equals _ blank. And then we'll say brag on Twitter. All right, I'm going to paste this href in here. This is a Twitter tweet. And then after that, outside of the center div, we're going to have another anchor with the class of signature. And the href is going to be my YouTube. All right, and then, of course, we'll add another target blank on here. Okay, and we'll say code stacker. Okay. All right, let's go to the CSS and let's check the time. Where are we at? 6 minutes. All right, go back to the CSS. We're going to have to hurry. All right. H1, that is going to be font size 10 rem, margin 0, paragraph. We're going to set a margin top of 0. We have a share button, so share. It's going to be display inline block, margin top to rem, text decoration none, padding to rem, border radius 5 rem. Background is going to be the pop color. And then text color is going to be white. Box shadow. I'm just going to copy this from before. All right, and then after the box shadow, we'll have a transition of box shadow short and ease out. Transform of short and ease out. Okay, and then it's going to be the same, similar for the active than we had before. Or actually, hang on, transition. Yeah, the hover, we're going to have a hover and an active like we had before. So I'll copy and paste it from up here. There we go. And then after that, we'll have message, transform, rotate 45 degrees. We want it to be normal. Translate -10, rem -15, whoops, 15, rem, text align, center, width of 40 rem. Okay, and then last one here should be the signature. Position, fixed, bottom 2 rem, right 4 rem, text decoration none, font weight 100, font family sans serif, color, we'll set that to RGBA, white 0.4, and then letter spacing to 2 pixels. Okay. All right, something's a little bit off, but we're close. It actually works. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change a few more things here. How much time do we have left? 2 minutes. All right, so we're going to add some cursors. Where do I have those links? All right, we're going to add a cursor on the button and goal. Button and goal right here. Oops. All right, and then on the step here, and on the share, we need to add a cursor pointer. All right, now let's see how that looks. Let's refresh this, I guess. It's save. Okay. All right, so now we have these emoji, worried emojis here. Just not sure what's going on. And then when you get to the end, it changes to cool shade emoji. Okay. And you win. All right, I'm going to clean this up a bit, add some levels, but it's a game. It works. It doesn't use JavaScript. The link to the game will be in the description if you want to play it. And let me see, how much time do we have left? Time's up. Okay, I don't know when time was up, but I think we got it done in time. Let's see if DevEd accepts it, and we'll go from there. Let me know in the comments below if you liked this. If you want to see any more videos like this, let me know. Thanks for watching.